Hello, everybody. It's Ed Rosenberg again, and this morning I'm speaking to Elena from SellerEngine. Elena, how are you doing today?
Good, thank you, Ed. It's good to be here with you again.
Okay, likewise. Okay, so we were talking about the health dashboard before. So everyone has the same question. I should appeal. I shouldn't appeal. Do I wake them up? And then people say, but some items they already appealed and they didn't sell one for 6 months, and Amazon is having meetings and discussing about me, which they're not. That's what I tell people these days. That Amazon is not sitting there having meetings about you. Like they think like Amazon is trying to. So tell me, what's your take on the health dashboard?
Okay, so it's been a while since it's been implemented, so I kind of wanted to share some of our experience from the cases we've handled so far. What I can tell you from the start is that I've worked with clients that I've gotten out of trouble who had as many as 15 notifications in there in the at-risk dashboard, and they weren't suspended still. So if you have like 3 or 4 and you thought your case is serious, I should say think again. I want to start by saying that yes, is an official confirmation that a lot of notifications have been sent in error. A lot of them have been dealt with, and others, of course, haven't been dealt with. So the first thing that we always do when checking such an account flagged as at risk is check which of these have been appealed, which notifications have been put in there in error, and which haven't been appealed at all. To start with, for the ones that have been sent in error, all we've done is notify the seller performance team that this ASIN or that ASIN have been put in there without having previously received the notification. And I can tell you that Amazon has been inconsistent about their replies with this. Sometimes they said, okay, we've annotated your account with the information provided. Sometimes they said, okay, but we need a plan of action for whatever reason for this ASIN. So we had to write up a plan of action for it. For the other ASINs that have been appealed in the past and the seller did get approved to start selling the ASIN again, what we've put in the email for seller performance was the date, the confirmation date when they said it's okay to start listing again, and that did it. So nothing else to do. We didn't even copy paste the appeal back then. We just sent an email and copy pasted their official confirmation that the ASIN can be relisted. And of course, we appealed the ones that had never been appealed before. So this was tricky too, because there's inauthentic and there's safety concerns, and sorry. And since the dashboard goes back 180 days, a lot of sellers had old invoices when appealing the inauthentic suspensions. But they just told Amazon that's the last time I bought stock. That's why my invoice is so old, and they accepted it, and that was fine. About the safety concerns, of course, we all know by now that safety is not necessarily safety. It can be not as advertised. It can be condition problems, or listings not matching product description, and so on and so forth. So the appeals were not the easiest ones to write, but they were successful and everything was fine. What I wanted to stress is that as soon as we started communicating with the performance team in each case, they removed the at-risk flag. So even if not everything in there was solved already, as soon as we started working on the ASINs, they removed the flag. Another thing that they've been inconsistent with is that sometimes they remove the ASIN from there when we were approved to start selling it again. Other times they said they cannot actually change anything in the dashboard, but that they did acknowledge our plan of action and it's fine to start listing the ASIN again. So, I guess the conclusion to all of this is just do whatever you can to solve them. Handle each and every notification in there, but don't expect an overall result or the same result for everybody, because sometimes they take ASINs out, sometimes they don't, sometimes they react one way, sometimes the other, but you just gotta do what you need to do and appeal or communicate with the performance team about them.
Now,
Yeah.
a few things. Now, you said a lot there. So when you said when you said about that an ASIN which they allowed you to relist, which showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Did they
so sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, they
they
relisted even before they got the confirmation. Because I was first ready to get the confirmation that it's okay to relist.
No, they were the notifications were like 2 months old, and they were appealed back then 2 months ago, and the sellers had been given approval to start listing again, and they were listing the item. And then when the new dashboard was implemented, the ASIN in question was flagged in there, although they were still listing it because they were allowed to list it from 2 months ago. So that's when we went to Amazon and told them, okay, we appealed the suspension, which happened 2 months ago. We were given the right to relist it on this date with this email. And they said, okay, that's fine. And usually they removed it from the dashboard, but not all the times. That's what I'm saying. Don't expect all matching results everywhere, because it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's a great summary, and I agree. There's no fireproof, it happened before, so this is it's not like ordering pizza where this is gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. And with the ASINs that you never got a notification for, try with a simple email. Try telling them, okay, I've never been notified of any problems concerning this ASIN. Put some information in there about how you've checked the history of the item and you had no concerns or no serious complaints about it, and everything is fine, and that should do it. But as I was saying, since Amazon is inconsistent about this, sometimes they did ask for a plan of action for whatever reason, usually something regarding safety. But yeah, safety condition, not as advertised. Yeah.
Right. Now, I mean, the fact that it never got a notification, we've all seen suspensions where all of a sudden somebody gets suspended, and they say, for these 7 ASINs that were inauthentics. So that didn't happen all, in the last minute. So obviously it was accruing. And what this health dashboard was trying to solve was, why didn't you tell me that you had 6 inauthentics before, and then I would have dealt with it. So the fact that you never received a previous performance notification wouldn't necessarily mean anything. It's just a baby step forward, that instead of getting suspended and you're shocked, is that now either you're not shocked, or you have at least an opportunity to try to appeal. But I agree.
Right.
The more I've seen, even if you're not planning on relisting, if they say appeal, I would appeal, because then they say afterwards, why didn't you appeal?
Yeah, and to second what you were saying earlier, we've had ASINs in the dashboard flagged as inauthentic without a notification about it. And when we checked them, we actually found buyer complaints either in the negative feedbacks or in product reviews, with a lot of people complaining that the item was inauthentic. So there was no formal notification about it, but there were buyer complaints when we started researching the ASIN, So yeah, you were right.
What do you think
are
about this?
looking into this.
I asked a question in the group, the seller performance group,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think I got a clear answer. Now, if I'm selling, obviously, if somebody gets a complaint, performance notification, so you check all the usual places, and when you check the product reviews, would they blame the seller of an item if it's an unverified review?
I think since they're reading this automatically, I think they would put everything in there. That's my assumption, that they throw everything in there. What we usually do to make sure that our plan of action, when we write one, covers everything possible, is that we take into account all product reviews, no matter if they're verified or not. So I would say, if you want to play safe, just include everything. We cannot be sure, of course, because, don't disclose everything, but yeah, we would put everything in there. We would consider every single complaint that we see in there, verified or not. Yeah.
Okay, they just want to know that the product is safe. They don't really care if it's
exactly.
The point of Amazon doesn't really care if it's your fault or not your fault. They just want to make sure everything's good.
Yes, and they went above and beyond with this, especially with safety concerns. Like sometimes they flag an item as not being safe, which is like an item that's not necessarily posing any risks of any kind, like headphones or something. Like it's crazy. Like how could that not be safe? Or it's not supplements
but it seems like at one point I thought Amazon, they were going to get more specific, and in a sense I think they've gotten even more general. I mean, I'm sure you've seen those suspensions. You no longer can sell on Amazon.
Yeah,
if you want
exactly.
to appeal, but they don't give you any idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna stress something here. I want to say that this is why it's really important to get the help of an expert when you're in trouble, because you can, like, these companies handling plans of action for you have more insight than you do. For instance, what I'm thinking about right now is that I've seen a lot of listing suspensions after that Samsung scandal with the explosions and Note 7 prohibiting. So I've seen a lot of suspensions for Samsung products which weren't Note 7, but they were like Amazon. After that problem, Amazon started looking into product reviews more and customer complaints more on Samsung products. And I've had several clients who have had complaints on the charger getting too hot when plugged in, or similar things like that, or the charger exploding, or the battery getting too warm. And that's what I'm saying. Like we know the general context, and we can help you find the best plan of action for your specific item. Yeah.
No, I don't know if you saw my post today, because I was saying I think another issue is if you start, doing your plan of action yourself, and then in the middle you want help. So that's that person that comes in has to reverse engineer the story. You can't just
right.
you have to make what he said. You have to make what he said make sense.
Yes, exactly. But I guess I'm safe to say that most cases come in that situation where people do submit an appeal first and only then come to us. But we can work with everything. It's everything in the writing, and it's all in the writing and in the way you approach the problem with Amazon after all. So
okay, ungating.
Yeah.
Now,
okay.
Yeah.
It's still a hot topic, brand ungating. So ever since Amazon started gating brands, they're asking for a fee in the case of specific brands. There's all sorts of formal or informal lists of brands that got ungated, that got gated, and that continuously grow. People add to those lists all the time. There's two scenarios. One in which people are only trying to are buying new stock and only making their first attempt to sell a specific brand. And there's that other case, which is of course more serious, where people have been banned from selling a particular stock that they already have with Amazon in most of the cases. So that's what affects them more, of course, because they've been selling brand X, whatever, for a while now, and all of a sudden they've been banned from one day to another, and it's popular items and it's costing them money. So that's when they freak out. Okay, what's been going on with brand ungating is problems with invoices again. So I know we've talked about invoices in the past as well, but people still submit bad invoices to Amazon. We've been approaching the invoice problem in inauthentic item suspensions, so I'm just going to recap a couple of the things we said back then. So first of all, you got to make sure that when you try to get ungated for a brand, your supplier is verifiable. The easiest way to check if your supplier is okay is look up their company name and address on Google to see that the company is a real company. If it's not exclusively online, it's even better if they have a physical store somewhere. So that's the easiest way to check a supplier. For big brands, there's also official authorized distributor lists published. So you can look those up as well. Then after checking the supplier, what Amazon does is, of course, looking at the bill to field, so your own company details, name and address. You'd be surprised how many people still submit invoices that don't show their own company details and address as saved in their Seller Central account. And then there's the more interesting things about brand ungating. So one would be that the minimum quantity on the invoices, if you sum all 3 invoices up, should be 40. That's the minimum quantity for your invoices to be approved. The other one would be that you need to have at least 5 different products on all 3 invoices, so at least 5. And the third I want to mention here, and it's really important, so don't overlook it. Amazon is looking to see that your invoice shows the brand that you're trying to get ungated for. So what happens in a lot of cases is that people do have itemized invoices, but sometimes on the invoice there's only like a model number, or like it says shoe and then a size, but it doesn't say, it doesn't say the brand that you're trying to get ungated for. And I know, people come to me and say, well, if you look up the model number on Amazon, you're going to find this particular item. And I say, yes, but if you look up the model number, it's going to say whatever brand X and model number for that particular item. So your invoices should be as descriptive as possible. One thing from our experience is that sometimes people figure out what was wrong with their invoices when initially submitted, and they talk to their suppliers and they get them corrected and they submit the same invoices. I cannot say that this is a 100% bad thing to do. But in most cases, Amazon denies those invoices, and I've seen them saying you submitted the same invoices. So it's sort of considered invoice manipulation. Although the invoices are fine, they do come from the supplier. They have just been modified or changed to meet their requirements. But what I'm saying is that if you went through 1 or 2 attempts to get ungated with a set of invoices, your new invoices or use other invoices that you already have, or even buy new stock just until you get ungated, so you have new invoices for those products.
Right. So you make a great point. Once you upload invoices that they didn't accept, so you have to say, I went back to the supplier and I told them as per Amazon requirements to revise. That works for brand ungating, but if you're providing invoices for inauthentic, for suspension of a listing or an account, so then you can't really say, well, here are new invoices that I bought 20,000 pieces. You have to go with the same thing, because otherwise it's not going to make sense. You have to pick your poison. If all of a sudden you found a new invoice that has 25,000 pieces on it, right?
Exactly.
So then you have to explain why you didn't, with a different format. That's interesting, but I think it's more believable to say, well, we went back to the supplier and as per Amazon requirement. I mean, actually do that. They revised, and then you can put in.
Yeah, and another aspect that people are worried about with this brand ungating is that if they make several attempts, they're gonna put their account at risk in some way. That's not a problem.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
no.
I have never seen anyone getting in trouble because of that. You can attempt as many times as you want to. As soon as you get proper paperwork, you can just try again. And a lot of people, another concern that a lot of sellers have is that whether they should write something about themselves in the optional comment field instead of just submitting the invoices. I can tell you that I've done both. adding comments and not adding comments, it doesn't make a difference. So it's the invoices that they focus on. If that paperwork is fine, don't worry about writing a whole history of your company and how long you've been selling and where and all
no,
that.
but what you could do, I mean, it's only, I think it's only 166 characters, but what you could do in the comments is you can create, like if it's a big distributor, but they don't have a website, you can you can send a tiny URL link to like a directory where they're listed, or because something like that.
Yeah, you could, of course. Yeah, I was saying, as I was saying earlier, we've tried both cases. It didn't make a difference. So yeah, usually I would use that field when you are in somewhat doubting when you're doubting your invoices with something or your supplier, or when you want to add something to what the invoice shows. So yeah.
Right. Okay, Elena, anything else you'd like to add? That was really good.
I think we're good for now. That's what I wanted to share with you. People have been struggling to get ungated in categories lately too. So look up for updates on that. Sometimes it works with this, sometimes it works with that. Maybe we're gonna do another interview soon and discuss that further. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, looking forward. That was really good. Okay, Elena, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Bye.